questions, because a conscious effort to think about those questions will lend a lot of context and perspective to everything that we do during the day. So I thought that's the intent of the session. And again, the disclaimer is, I have not perfected these myself. These are all questions that I keep asking myself all the time, keep thinking on them, and so it's like a work in progress. But I just wanted to bring it up. So a very famous poet said that the two most important days in your life are the day when you were born and the day when you find out why. Mark Twain said these words, and I don't know the second part. I don't know the why part. I don't know what destiny is for me, or even if there is one, I don't know. And honestly, I have kind of worked with myself, and I can say it today that I don't really care. It doesn't really matter. But for sure, I want to enjoy the journey. I want to enjoy the ride as we all move forward. And eventually, if I get to know, so be it. If I don't get to know, no big deal. I think Toastmasters in general and Blue Expression in specific, this is one such forum of really beautiful people where you can be yourself, where I can be myself. And this is really rare. Think about it. How many places are there, or forums are there, or how many times do you get chance to interact with an audience where you can be completely yourself? This is one such forum. Not only that, I mean, I could be anybody that I want to be, that I imagine to be. You could don a new persona every meeting that you attend, and you can make all the errors that we want, make all the faults, everything, and still get applauded for that attempt. So isn't that amazing? Isn't that stupendous?
Yeah,
I think it is. So when I started out, so I asked this question myself, like, what is in it for me? And so this is not a very selfish, so I don't like to think myself as selfish, but I think it's very important to have that clarity, or at least make an attempt to have that clarity. So I asked myself, what is in it for myself? The first time when I heard the name Toastmasters, I thought this might be a good reason to get drunk during office hours. Not bad, and it's legal. I mean, Toastmasters, I'm sure they all raise toast to everything, and then there are bottles everywhere. But it didn't turn out like that. So my initial intent was just to be able to get in touch with myself. There was a time in my school when I used to write good essays, and I thought I lost the touch, because as we we are also busy people. We are, and this gives us that forum to get in touch with our own selves. But then, so that was the initial intent that I had. But once I joined, I think I got much more than what I had initially imagined. I was able to build a few personal relationships. I was able to know a few IBMers, a few human beings who are really awesome. And I think those connections have had huge bearing on the way I approach life and work, and will continue to have that bearing. So I can honestly say that I have grown not only as a professional, but deeply as a person as well. So, and I think I have to thank each one of you for that. So can I have all of you just give an applause for yourselves? Thank you so much. I have three quick, and we might not even need 15 minutes, but I have three quick perspectives or questions, if you will, to share, to put in front of all of you. These questions are very relevant, but ironically, these questions are relegated as well. These questions are neglected. We are so busy, and we really are busy. But I think as I said in the beginning, it's good to take a pause once in a while and just think about those fundamental basic questions. So the first thing that I wanted to share is about communication, because that's the context that binds us all together here, is communication. And again, feel free not to answer my question, but these questions are more for our own selves to discuss, to interact with our own selves rather than be answerable to anybody else. But I would still ask, let's say, Vanita, you are the TMOD, you asked everybody questions. So let me ask, how do you define communication? There are no wrong answers. What is communication for you? Or what are your biggest challenges in communication?
Talking without fear is the biggest challenge for me. That's how I'm done.
Anybody else? What is communication? There are no right and wrong answers.
Conveying the right way as well. I intend to tell something, but that should be conveyed the same way as.
So you want the recipient of your communication to understand exactly the intent that you're trying to convey.
Right. But most of the times it doesn't happen.
Absolutely. So again, the reason I ask this question is, there are these terms that are recurring in our, these terms have recurring themes in our life. For example, success, value, failure, good, bad. You would see people judging immediately as soon as you are in a certain way. You would be at the receiving end of a judgment saying that you're not good or you cannot be successful. My point here is, I think it's very important as human beings for us to define these words for our own selves. Not to read a book and understand what the definition is, but maybe delve deeper into our own selves and ask myself that what exactly do I mean by success? Or in this case, communication. So I have my definition, but I think it's important for all of us to have that. That definition. There are three aspects that I want to share within this, within the boundaries, within the ambits of communication. The first of which is business communication. That's what we are all here for, at the outset. This is one of the problems that I personally have. It's not just that, so when somebody asks about somebody's role, like what do you do? More often than not, we are very quick to say our designation. Like this is what I work my team. I think that's bullshit. And I'll tell you why. It doesn't matter which team we are working for. So this is a conversation that I heard live and I'm telling you the excerpt of it. It's very important to be able to very crisply and simply, understandably convey exactly how we are adding value or what is our exact role and not the designation. So I think that is a very important thing. And the second important thing in the business communication part, which I think is even difficult for me, is to be able to explain your domain or your technology and then shift between the three different levels. You have the strategic level at the top, then you have the tactical, and then you have the operational. It's very important to practice this art, to try and see if you are able to articulate what domain we are working on or the technology that we are serving or supporting across these three levels. So if it is Watson Analytics for me, I should be able to easily communicate at a strategic level, like what it does, how it empowers the business users, where it fits in the entire scheme of things, how it integrates with the other products, and then immediately get down to the transactional level and be able to explain how the assemble feature helps in this. So that's very important, and I think that's one of the challenges that I have, and I thought this was very important. So when you think about business communication, explaining what we are doing and then explaining the domain or technology that we are supporting across these three levels, I thought that was very important. And as I said, the disclaimer, I am working on these things myself. Just thought I would bring this in front of all of you. The second is personal communication, which is most neglected. You see, your CC manual, if you look at the objectives, they are all doing a job. But I think we should extend them now. You should also think, if it is a voice modulation like Muthu did today, you should also think, how is this objective help me be a better father or a better son or a better maybe brother, sister, whatever it is. Because in personal relationships, if you see the lift in the D4 building, you would see there are people standing. They wouldn't bother that people have to come out. They wouldn't say thank you. They wouldn't say sorry. This is not what we are here for. I think it's very important that we stretch ourselves and think, if I'm delivering a speech today, how will that help me improve the relationship that I have with my dad at home? I think that's one thing that gets neglected, but I think that is really going to embellish who we are, beauty ourselves, just make it much better for all of us. So that is very important, personal communication. And the third thing we don't do is listen. Not only listen to others or the situation, the context of the conversation, but also listen to ourselves. We don't do that anymore. All we do is we work our ass off, if I can use that word in Toastmasters, big deal. It's okay to work hard, but we also need to take that little time out every day and just to listen to ourselves. It could be crap, but still I think it's important. Because all the answers, I believe, and I could be wrong, but I believe are within us. You don't need to read a book to know what is right and what is wrong. So it's very important to listen to ourselves. And that, I think, falls very much within the ambits of communication, is that when we find time for our own selves and just listen to ourselves. So that's important. So, as I said, communication, I think business, personal and listen, those are important aspects that I feel. And you can have your own laundry list of problems and you can have your own laundry list of aspects to think on, but these are mine. The second aspect, so first was communication. The second aspect I wanted to share with all of you was about problems. Now, we all have problems. People who get newly married have their own problems. We all have our problems. But I think it's very important how we define our problems and in what order we place them. So let me ask a question again. Let's say, Muthu, you have treated everybody with your lunch. Now treat us with your answers. What are the two most important problems that you have? Again, there are no right and wrong answers. My problem is I want more salary. I want really a very big house. They are my problems and nobody can question that. So I'm asking, what are your problems? Say the top two problems. If it is personal, don't bother. If it is something with Hruday, don't bother. If you have any other...
So yeah, communication is my first problem. I'm just overcoming that. Second is I just want to maintain this. That is my second problem. Because I feel that I maintain some benchmark. So I just want to meet that benchmark always. I just want to go down. I just want to maintain that level. Or I have to go above. If I meet that level, I have to maintain the same level. Again, I don't want to go.
Fair enough. Pradhan, I wouldn't ask you a problem, I know that. I went through that 2 years back. But, that's very interesting that you quote communication as a problem, because that's aspirational. So you're already on that path. And so I was not. So I have to congratulate you on that. And we'll see what I mean exactly. You see, our character and our approach to life and work, the way we look at things, the way we try to solve a problem, the way we, interact in relationships, it all depends on how we define our own problems and how we order them. I need a good house, that's fine, but that cannot be my most important problem in life. I want money, yes I do. I don't want to die poor, I want to have a good lifestyle, I want. But that cannot be my most important problem. So it's very important not only to define those problems, but in what order we place them. And I think it's also important to have, this is my own theory, that at least 2 out of the first 3 problems, the top 3 problems, need to be aspirational in nature. Communication is an aspirational problem. The biggest problem that we have in this universe, I think, is communication. Nothing else, it's communication. And the way we put our things, what we put, the intent with which we put, whatever it is, but it's communication, I think. Everything else can take care of itself. So, 2 out of the 3 problems have to be aspirational in nature. That drives us, that pushes us out of our own comfort zones, that stretches us to, do better things. And I have a strong belief, firm belief that if those 2 aspirational problems are taken care of, it will take care of a whole list of other problems that we otherwise focus on, which doesn't need that much importance. So I thought that was again a very important thought to share. And finally, as Vanita said, progress and not perfection. I am a victim of OCD. I want this thing to be exactly like here. This cannot be. So they have to be exactly in order, and it doesn't work. So the last couple of months I'm working with myself, just telling myself progress and not perfection. It's okay. For people like Kavya, I've seen Mayo, they will want to do everything themselves. You know why? Because they want the best, not only for themselves, but for everybody else around them. It's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to just screw up. Big deal. On the same note, I'm saying that what's in it for me? So when you come to the 90 minutes here, it's fine to ask yourself, what is it that you want from here? It's okay. If it is a bank change, it's fine. But be clear about it, because once you have that clarity, the rest of it will be taken care of itself. You will know exactly what to do this, to get there. Everything else will fall in place. And I think it's important to, like you have the masks in the flight, they say you help yourself before you help others. I think it's very important to first help ourselves before we think about helping others. See, helping others is an intent that you have inside. Nobody can snatch that from you. But it's important to first understand the basics, know about ourselves much better before we reach out to help others. I think the biggest gratitude we can pay to Blue Expression is by bettering ourselves. See, if we better ourselves, we are all moving ambassadors of the club. The club doesn't need a VP marketing or PR program separately to just put out on Facebook. We are all ambassadors. Everybody would know that you were like this, like 2 years back. If suddenly people at home will feel that change, everybody would want to know what's exactly happening in your life. So the answer is Blue Expression. So it's very important that we know what we are here for, we strive for that, we get better ourselves, and I think that is the best way we can gratitude. So with that note, I'm so sorry if I sounded preachy, but I thought this is one forum, we can all be ourselves. Just share our innermost convictions and thoughts, and on that note, if there are any condescending tones, just apologies for that, and thank you so much.